Okay. Today, okay, we will see today graphs. Actually, this graph theory is a vast subject. From that, they have taken the important topics which are required for data structures. That we will see today. Before going to these graphs, we will see one example on red black tree. How red black tree will be. We will see. Last class I had given this example to do. Insert 10, 20, 30 and 15 in an empty tree. We will see how to do this one. So first insert the 10 because it is an empty tree. Even though it is a inserted element should be red color, but we will insert as a red color, and after that it is a root, we will convert into the black. And then second one 20, we will insert the 20 because 20 is higher than 10, so we will insert it the right side, and 20 will be the red color as it is the new node, and 10 is the root black color. So here P and X are the, so if you take parent and child, so it will be 10 and 20 like this. And after that we will insert the 30. So 30 will see, we will see from root 10 and 10, then we will go to the 20, it is higher than 20. So that's why we will add the new node 30 to the right side of the 20. So here 30 is the new node, red color. And after this we have to insert 15. So that's why, so we have to insert the 15. So before going to that, we have to see whether it is satisfying red black tree properties or not. So to make it red black tree, so then we will do the right turning, right rotation, so that the 20 will come to the 10 place and 10 comes to the left side of the 20, and then the new tree will be 20 becomes root tree, and 10 will be then 10 will be less than 20, so it becomes the left side tree, left side child, and 20 becomes right side child. So now the tree will be 20 root and it is color, we will make it black, and 10 and 30 are the child, so these two become red and red. So now it is satisfying the red black tree properties. So then you have to insert 15, then you have to insert 15. So we will insert the 15 and we will traverse from root 20, 15 is less than 20, so that it will come to the left side, and then we will find out whether it is greater than 10 or not. It is greater than 10, though, like how we will insert in the BST, same way we will insert the right side of the 10. So 15 is the new node, so that it is a red color. So then we will see whether it is satisfying the red black tree properties or not. So then, as the new node 15 is red color, so we will make 10 and 30 the parent siblings of the parent nodes, will make black, and the 20 becomes the grandparent of the 15, will make it red color. If the 20 is not the, if the 20 is not the, if it is not root, then we will make it red color 20, and then 10 and 30 will black, and the 15. It is a red black properties, it's satisfying. For example, if the 20 is not the normal and it is a 20 is a root, then we will follow the root color, and then we will do the recoloring. So like that, the insertion, if you want to build a red black tree for a given 10, 20, 30, 15, so it will be like this as per the requirement as per the based on the 20 is whether the root or not root, we'll make it as a, and then we'll check whether it is satisfying red black tree or not. So please note down. Please note down, because in the examination point of view also we have to see. In examination they may ask you like this only. So because red black tree programming is not there, so that's why, so they will see this kind of problems in the examination. So now we'll see that. So if you want to note down, note down. Okay. Next, graphs. So it is a vast subject. Actually, graph theory is there, mathematical representations are there for graphs, and same thing, same concepts are used in the data structures. But in your syllabus, graphs implementation methods and graph traversal methods, these two are there. So we'll see what exactly actually deletion also we have done in previous class. So if you want to delete any node, you have to delete, and then you have to check whether it is satisfying red black tree or not. If not, then you have to go for either recoloring or rotation. That already I explained. Just I have taken one more example for understanding purpose. I have taken one more example how in generally in examination it will be asked. Okay. So you just see the previous slide where we explained already the deletion method. So in the graph implementation methods and graph traversal methods, there are two concepts are there. So to understand this, first we will see what is exactly graph. A graph is a non-linear data structure. So in data structures we have linear and non-linear. It is a non-linear data structure and it consists of nodes and edges. So each node will be represented. How we will represent data structures? Nodes. In the same way we will use the either linked list or arrays also, and each nodes are connected. Sometimes the nodes are connected and those lines which are connecting the nodes, we will call them as edges. So a graph consists of nodes and edges, and these nodes are sometimes also called as vertices, and the edges are called as arcs or lines. So because it is a two-way, it is not a completely computer science subject, it's a mathematical subject. So that's why we will call them as a arcs or lines, but in data structure point of view, we will call them as a nodes and edges, and they have other name as vertices and arcs and lines also. Generally, they connect any node, any two nodes in the graph. More formally, a graph can be defined like this. Simply, if you want to define, you can define like this. Recording is going on. I already started recording. So, is it voice and all clear? Voice is clear? Screen is visible? Okay. So, screen also visible? Okay. So, a graph consists of finite set of vertices. We can call them as a nodes, and set of edges which connect the pair of the nodes. So, graph will be defined like this. So now we'll see what exactly graph will represent. So here 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, we'll call them as a vertices. So there are 5 nodes are there, and each nodes are connected, which are called as edge. So 0, 1, 0, 4 connected, 0, 1 connected, 0, 2 connected. So here there are two things are there. With the direction is not there, then undirected. So there is no direction, but all the nodes are connected. So 0, 1 connected, 0, 4 connected, 1, 4 connected, 1, 2 connected, 1, 3 connected, 3, 4, 3, 2, like that the connections are there. And this we can call them as a graph is a set of vertices or nodes. V is equal to 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 will represent, we'll say the vertices are like this. And set of edges will represent as a E is equal to whatever the connections are there, 0, 1 connection, 1, 2 connection, 2, 3 connection, 3, 4 connection, again 0, 4 connection, 1, 4 connection, 1, 3 connection. So just see, when you are showing the connection, you are seeing the connection from lower number to higher number. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 connections are there. So the graph having 5 vertices, 5 nodes and 7 . So 7. Now is it okay? Hello? Voice is okay? Hello? Okay. So graphs are used to solve many real time. So we'll see where exactly these graphs will be used in our data structure. So we'll represent graphs in real life problems. The networks may include paths in a city. So graphs are used to represent networks. So there are so many networks computer networks we have seen. Local area networks is there, wide area networks is there, regional. So like that, there are so many varieties of networks are there, city-wise, country-wise, world-wise, web-wise, so all the networks. So if you say simply POS in the city, so POS in a city, telephone network, circuit networks, and graphs are also used in social networks like LinkedIn, Facebook. So all these things are our real-time examples. Real-time examples where exactly we'll apply the graphs. So if you take in Facebook, each person is represented with a vertex. So for example, a new person registered in Facebook, we will treat it as a node, and those who are friends with him, so all these things, who are the siblings, all represented in like just data structures, and it contains the information like person ID. So like this, the graphs will be used in real-time applications. So telephone, POS in city, telephone network, circuit networks, and the social networks like LinkedIn, Facebook. So these are the real-time applications where in the Facebook each person who are registered will be treated as a node, and node we already know how to create in a tree. In the same manner here also it will be created. Node will be created by using a data structure, and that contains person ID, name, gender, local, all. So whatever information you are giving. So that's why we can say graph is you can represent using the data structure. So mathematical graphs can be represented in data structure. So we can represent by using how we will represent data structure same way. We can represent a graph either using arrays of vertices. So all the vertices, because vertices are nodes, the single nodes 7, 10, 5 like that. So that's why we can say array of vertices. So one dimensional arrays will use it to represent the vertices, and for edges we'll use the two dimensional array. So if you see this one, if you see this example where vertices are represented as array of is it okay? Hello? Is it okay? Clear? Oh, visible screen is also visible? Okay. So here the vertices are will represent using the one dimensional array. So V of single dimensional array 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 are the nodes, and the edges will be represented using two dimensional array. Edges will be represented using the two dimensional array. So because they connect two vertices. That's why 0, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 0, 4, 1, 4, 1, 3. So these all are the two-dimensional array we'll use to represent the arrays, vertices. So vertices and edges. So edges will be represented by using a two-dimensional array of edges. So before we proceed further, let's familiarize ourselves with some important terms. This better if you are very good in understanding what is vertex and how will be represented and what is exactly edges. So graphically, so each node of the graph is represented as a vertex and labeled circles represents vertices. Thus a GR vertices, we can represent them using an array as shown in the following image. Here A can be defined, identified by index 0 and B can be identified using index 1. So the nodes are 1, 2, 3 from 0, 1, 2, 3 like that it will be represented. So already I have shown in the previous one 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 that can be represented as A, B, C, D like that also you can represent. So first one will be identified from 0 to n number. And the two nodes, edges are nothing but connecting the, for example, if it is connecting AB, so then it is AB. If it is connecting BC, BC. So like that it will be identified. And adjacency. So adjacency, two nodes or vertices are adjacent if they are connected to each other through the edge. So definitely we all know so graph, if you take this graph 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 are the vertices and the lines or arcs connecting these nodes called as a edge. And this graph is represented as a G and G is a set of V and E, is a set of V and V. So where V is equal to vertices and E is equal to edges. Vertices also can be called as nodes and edges are called as lines or arcs. Because I already told you it is not completely computer subject, it's a graph theory, it's a mathematical subject, it's a vast subject, ocean subject. So we borrowed some concepts from there to here to implement in data structures for our maintaining the or organizing the data. So in that, so basics and whichever we require for our data structures, those things first we are familiarizing with those things. So these edges and vertices can be represented by using the arrays. So these vertices can be represented with a single dimensional array like this. V is equal to 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. If they are A, B, C, D, F, the first node will be identified as a 0. So because array, the 0 will be the first initial one. And edges will be represented because these edge is nothing but which connects the two nodes. So that's why by using 2D dimensional, two-dimensional array, we will represent the edges like 0, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 1, 4, 1, 3, 1, 2. So if you see this, so the lower number to higher number. So the serial order is very important when you are connecting. And if they are connected with the direction, so then there is a directed graphs. And if direction is not there, undirected graphs. The graphs will be classified based on the direction. So based on the direction and non-direction, so directed and undirected, the number of edges also will vary. So if the direction is there, so as per the direction only we will consider the edges. If the direction is not there, so all the way we will consider the edges. That we will see later. So these we can apply mostly the real life applications of the graphs are network. To represent the networks, we will use these graphs. So PaaS in city, you have a LAN, WAN, RAM, so like that so many networks are there. Telephone network is there, circuit networks is there, and even in the social networks also we use. And Facebook, LinkedIn. So for example, in the Facebook, each person is represented with a vertex or a node. So once it is called as a node, you already know how the tree node will be initialized with a structure. So same way here also we'll use struct node, and that contains the particular person ID, name, gender, local address, so phone number, everything will be there. So in this the familiar words vertex, edge, already you know adjacency. Adjacency means so for example 0 is 1 and 4 connected. So 1 and 4 are the adjacencies of the 0. So like that the two nodes or vertices are adjacents if they are connected to each other through an edge. In the following example, B is adjacent to A and C is adjacent to B and so on. So the path represents a sequence of edges between the two vertices. So for example, ABCD represents a path from A to D. That means, so the path based on the path 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. If you want path from 0 to 3, so you can see 0, 1, 2, 3. So here, if you see this, the path from 0 to 3. 0 to 3 path is 0, 1, 2, 3 or otherwise 0, 4, 3. So there are two paths are there, 0, 1, 3. So like that there are 0, 4, 1, 3. So like that there are so many paths are there between 0 to 3. So that's why in the computer networks there are so many paths are there to reach from 0 to 3. So for example, if the data wants to transfer from 0 to 3, there are so many paths are there. 0, 1, 3 is there, 0, 1, 2, 3 is there, 0, 4, 3 is there. Like that 0, 4, 1, 3 is there. There are so many ways are there. That's why there is a shortest path algorithm is there. So for finding the shortest path, sometimes what will happen, a particular so that's why path also represents a sequence of edges between the two vertices. So whatever the edges connected between the initial and final. So this is also path also very important. So for example, if the path is more, if the path is lengthy, or there are 3-4 ways are there to reach from source to destination, then again you have to go for a shortest path algorithm is there. So by implementing the shortest path algorithm, we can select which one is best path for transferring the data or from one node to another node. So following so these all are the, and when you are writing a program with graphs, there are basic operations are there: add vertex, add edge, display vertex. So you have to add the vertex. So while adding the vertex, you have to write the program, and edges also, two vertices, edges are between the two vertices, and vertex if you want to display the vertex, if you want to display the particular node information. So these all are the main basic operations. So there is a ADT also is there, that we will see the next class. So first basic operations are these are the basic operations. So next, most commonly how will you represent a graph? Most commonly how will you represent a graph? So there are two methods are there most commonly used to represent the graph. The first one is adjacency matrix and second one is adjacency list. One graph is there, for example, that graph will be represented and stored in the form of either adjacency matrix or adjacency list. And there are other representations also there, incidence matrix and incidence list, but mostly adjacency matrix and adjacency list will be used to represent the graph. So I have seen one graph 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. That graph will be represented either by using adjacency matrix or adjacency list. How it will be, we will see. And there are other more representations also there, incidence matrix and incidence list. So if you see list, there are different categories of lists are there. Even in the matrix also there are different matrices are there. So we can see these and as per this mostly used one are adjacency matrix and adjacency list, that we will see. So the choice of the graph representation situation specific, that means if the totally depends on the type of operation to be performed and ease of use. That means whether you want to use adjacency matrix or whether you want to use the adjacency list or incidence matrix or incidence list, all these things depends on the number of operations. If the more operations are there, complex operations are there, we will check whether it is possible if you use the adjacency matrix. So like that, it is mainly situation specific. So there is no rule that you have to use only this method. So adjacency matrix, what is exactly adjacency matrix? It is a 2 array of size v into v, where v is the number of vertices in a graph, and let the 2D array will be adjacent of ij. So is equal to 1 indicates that there is an edge from vertex I to j. So that means I already shown in the beginning, E is equal to a set of 0, 1, 0, 2, 1, 2 like that. So 0, 1 indicates 0 is I and 1 is j. So that means the vertex formed between the edges I and j. That means 0 to 1. If it is 1 to 4, the edge formed between the vertices 1 and 4. So like that, it is represented in the 2D array of edge ij. And adjacency matrix for undirected graph is always symmetric, and adjacency matrix also used to represent weighted graphs. That means graphs are weighted graphs and directed graphs mainly. So we'll see those two also. And if edge of ij is equal to w, then there is an edge from vertex I to vertex j with a weight w. That means, so 0 to 1, I already told you, 0, 1 in this graph, 0, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3. So this is actually all are given one weightage. So that's why simply we'll say it is a directed, undirected graph. So for example, for reaching 0 to 1, it takes 2 minutes. And for reaching 1 to 2, it takes 5 minutes. And for reaching 2 to 3, it takes 6 minutes. So these are the weightages. So by taking all these weightages, we will calculate the shortest path to reach the 0 to 3. That means based on the situation, we will use whether the weightage is required or not, whether weightage has role or not. So it all depends on the network you are using. So in case of Facebook, in case of LinkedIn, or in case of a path circuit, or in the network or a LAN, WAN, if the weightage is also to be considered, then we will go for a graph with weight. So the graph with weightages also will consider. So otherwise we will say this adjacent matrix are 2D, ij is equal to 1. It indicates that there is an edge from vertex I to j. And if it is a matrix of two-dimensional array, adj ij is equal to w, then there is an edge formed between I to z with a weightage w. So like that, whether the w also consider or not, we will see. So the adjacency matrix for the above example. So like this. So I already given one example. Before that, please keep in the mind that so there are 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 are there. So the adjacency matrix will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. The connection between the 0, 0 is there or not? The connection between the 0, 1, yes. 0, 2, no. 0, 3, no. 0, 4, 1. Wherever the edges are formed by connecting the nodes, we will put as a 1. 1 means the edge is formed. And if the 0 is, edge is not formed. So based on this matrix, we can understand whether 3 to 2 is there or not. Yes. And 3 to 3 and 3 to 4 is there or not. Sometimes self graphs will be self-connected also, 3 to 3. That are the other kind of graph theory applications. Here 0 and 4 is connected, 4 and 1 is connected, 4 and 2 not connected, 4 and 3 connected. So from 4 to 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, there are 3 connections are there. So all will be represented with 1. So the adjacency matrix for the above example will be like this. So please note down. So that's why you please note down this graph first. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and this can be represented in the adjacency matrix form, and those values will be stored and for representing the graph. That means graph will be represented data structure way by using either adjacency matrix or adjacency list. So you please remember this, note down this, so that you can better understand the adjacency matrix of the above graph. Okay. So note down the adjacency matrix for the above example will be like this. 0, 1 connected, 0, 2 no, 0, 3 no, 0, 4 connected. So the 0 is connected with 1 and 4, and 1 is connected with 0, 2, 3, 4, and 2 is connected with 0 no, 1 and 3 only. 2 is connected, and 3 is connected with 1, 2 and 4, and 4 is connected with 0, 1 and 3. So based on this you can understand. So this is the adjacency matrix representation of the graph given above. Note down. So now we'll see the other. So in this, what are the pros and cons? So representation is easier to implement and follow. So because you all know how to represent a matrix. So simply you can adjacent matrix of. So you take how many nodes are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are there. So I is equal to 5, j is equal to number of rows, number of columns, I and j. So adjacency matrix of 5 and 5. Adjacence of 5 and 5. So you all know how to represent a matrix simply. So that's why the main advantage, pros and cons, if you see, the main advantage representation is very easier to implement and follow. And removing an edge takes order of 1 time, and queries like whether there is an edge from vertex u to vertex v are efficient and can be done by order of 1. So here, and whether the edge is there between these two vertices or not to find. So these all are the very simple, and the time complex will be the order of 1, and it consumes more space if the 0 is equal to v square. Even if the graph is sparse, contains less number of edges, it consumes the same space. Adding a vertex is 0 v square time. That means, so the memory occupation will be the more. In case of adjacency matrix. So note down this. And next we'll see adjacency list. An array of list is used. Size of array is equal to the number of vertices. So how many vertices are there? 5 vertices are there. So array of 5. So the entry array I represents the list of vertices adjacent to the ith vertex. And so the entry array of I represents the list of vertices adjacent to the I. So what are the adjacent to the I? 4 and 1. There are 2 are there. And this representation can also be used to represent a weighted graph. The weights of the edges can be represented as a list of P. So I already told you whether weightage is given or not. So in some networks we require weightage. In some networks weightage is not required. For example, you want to transfer data from one node to another node. But there are 5 ways are there, 5 paths are there from source to destination. In such scenario, weightage is also required. So based on the weightage, you can calculate the shortest path to transfer the information from one node to another node. So in case of computer networks, it will be come into the picture. So the adjacency list will be represented like this. The mainly it contains 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And 0 is connected to 1 and 4, and the first 1 will be added, and 1 is a node, and by using the linked list we will connect the 1 and 4, and 4 has a null address. So if you want to add, you can also add. In the same way, 1 will be connected to 0 and 4, and 4 is connected to 2, and 2 is connected to 3, and from 1 the connections are more. So this is what exactly adjacency list for representing the above graph. The 4 is connected to 3, and 3 is connected to 0, and 0 is connected to 1. So, and this will be the based on the weightage. You can change the connections also, so that you can understand the shortest path from source to destination. So like that, the weightages are required or not. So that's why which graph we have to use, which type of graph we have to use, directed, undirected, that is based on the network. For example, your unidirected network is there, so then direction is not required. So but both directions are required for transferring the data from A to B and B to A. So then directions also required. Weightages, if reaching one node to another node, there are 4-5 paths are there. So then weightages also comes into the picture. So based on that, all these things, so we'll consider the based on situation demands. So based on the situation, we will go. So this is very important. Array of the list is used and size of the array is equal to the number of vertices, and let the array will be array of 5, and entry array I represents the list of vertices adjacent to the ith. So the I has, if it is 0, so it is connected to 1 and 4. So that's why array of 2. Array of 2. I will be 2. And this representation can also be used to represent a weight graph, and weights of the gist can be represented as a list of the P. So P also will be considered in case of shortest path and computer networks. So now we'll see these all are the, so there are 2 topics are there. I already told you, as per our syllabus, we have 2 topics: graphs implementation methods and graph traversal methods. So implementation methods we have seen, and we will see this is one implementation and this is the another implementation. Directed graph and undirected graphs, and traversing is very important. The process of systematically visiting each node exactly once. So that is what called traversal. So now you see traversing is, you all know, data structures visiting each node. So there are 2 types of traversing methods are there in graphs. 2 traversing methods are there, and one is the depth first search, and we will call it as a DFS. We will call it as a DFS. Is it okay, everybody? Hello? Is it fine? Everything going well? Voice and screen. Everything clear? Voice and okay, nice. So now we will see. So now we'll see graph representation we have seen, and graph traversal methods. So how will it traverse? So there are traversing means what? Visiting each node exactly once. So when you are visiting all the nodes, if already a node is visited, so then we'll mark it as visited, and so that the next time we never visit that. There are 2 methods are there, DFS and BFS. DFS means depth first search. That means from root to leaf node we will go. From depth first search, that means we will go depth. So root node to leaf node, and then we will go right side. So we will from root to left side. We will start from left side and we will go leaf node, and then we will go to right, like that. We will finish the traversing. And this kind of traversing method is called as depth first search. And second category, breadth first search, where we will see levels, where here we will complete the levels, first 0 level, 1 levels, like that will. And a graph can have a cycles. We must avoid revisiting a node. That means already I told you 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 in the graph all are connected. So it is a cycle. So from 4 to 0, 4 to 1. So like that we have to go one cycle only. We have to move, we have to traverse in a particular path. So that's why based on the path, based on the style you are visiting, they are called as DFS and BFS. So that's why, so we make it visited, and the node has already visited, then we will mark as a visited node, so that it will help us. That means we will take a global array, one more array we will take, whatever the arrays, whatever the nodes we are visiting, we will put in that visited array. So that every time we will check whether it is in the added in the visited array or not. If it is visited array, so we will initialize it to false. So if it is visited, true. If it is not, 0. So true and false we will follow 0 and 1, and then we will identify. So don't think that here 0 to 4 only 5 nodes are there, but in a bigger database, so there will be. So if you take a bank database or a Aadhaar card database or a computer net, a completely a TCS company computer nodes are there, and all these nodes if they want to traverse and find out some information. So in such scenario, so you require an additional array to note down the visited nodes. So that's why please keep everything in mind that the database is more. So if the database is high, then you need this kind of help. So now we'll see first depth first search. Depth first search is an algorithm used to search the tree or a graph. And DFS search starts from root node and then traverses into the left child node and then continues. And if item is found, it stops, otherwise it continues. That means it continues from top to left side, root node to left side, and it will go to leaf node, and then it moves to the right side and then right side. Like that it will visit. So please note down a tree like this. A tree has S, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 nodes are there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 nodes are there, which called as A, B, C, D, E, F, and S and G. S is the root node and G is the leaf node. And A, B, C are the second level siblings, and D, E, F are the next level siblings. So this is a one graph, and here 3 plus 3, 6 plus 2, 8 edges are there. Sorry, 8 nodes are there, vertices are there, and each vertices are connected, and S to A is there, A to D is there, D to G is there, and S to A, S to B, and B to E, and E to G, and S to C, C to F, F to G. So like this, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 edges are there. 9 edges are there. And in case of DFS, in case of DFS, that means depth first search. So we'll start from S and we'll move towards the left side and we'll go to the root node. So that's why we'll start DFS. Note down like this. First S to A, and then we'll go A to D, and we'll go D to G. So G is the leaf node. So from, if you compare with S and G, G is the left side, last leaf node, left node, and from G we'll move the right side, which is the first one, E is the first one, right side to the G. So then we'll move from G to E, and then E to B, and from B you have to see whether which is connected. B to S's connection is there, but already S is visited. So that's why it always compares the visited array, and S is noted as a true. So then after B, it will check again from the G, again from the E, whether any connections are there from B, any connections are there from E, and then it will check whether connections are there from G. So then from G, F connected, F is not visited, it is not there in the visited list. So then from G to F, and then F to C. And from C, it will check how many connections are there. S is connection. And so S is already visited. So then it stops the. So like that, it will check it will check S is which is immediately S will be added to visited array. And S to A will be added. And D will be added. Then G will be added. And G to E, it checks from G, D, E, F are there. So already D visited, so E it will visit. and from E it will check B is there, and B it visits. So like that, it visits each node once exactly, and traversing from root node to left side to edge node, leaf node, and then it will go right side and right side until it notify the non-visited nodes. If any node is visited, immediately it will search for other links, previous node links, and then it will start searching, traversing. So like that, the DFS will be S, A, D, G, E, B, F, C is the DFS. And the main advantage of the DFS is it requires less memory when compared to breadth first search, because in the breadth first the levels also to be remembered. So note down. So generally this is a examination point of view important, and project point of view also important. Interview point of also very important. How the note down. And also note down, it takes less memory when compared to DFS, BFS. So now you see BFS, breadth first search. The search starts from the root node and then traverses into next level of graph. Next level, first level is S, that is root. Next level is A, B, C, D, E, F, G. G is the last level. So here levels will be taken into the consideration. If any item found, then immediately it stops. Otherwise, it continues with other nodes in the same level before moving to the next level. So first it will start from root and then first level it completes. Next it will go second level and next it will go third level, fourth level, till it not identifies the. If it identifies any visited node, then immediately it will go to the next level. So before going to level, it checks whether all are traversed or not in the same level. And in this technique, we first visit the vertex and then visit all the vertices adjacent to the starting vertex. That is a very important. So first S is the root. So from S to A it will come. What are the adjacent for the A in the same level? B, C. So it will traverse it visit the B and C. So that is whether it is visited all or not. All the adjacent vertices will be picked and then visits one by one. So that's why adjacency also, adjacent vertices also one of the important keyword in the, and it will go to the last vertex. Like that it will go to the last vertex. If you take the same example, here S is the root node, and from S to A we will see. S, as the S is the root node, it will come to the left node A, and then what are the siblings of the A? The same level. What are the siblings of the A? Same level. So it will check S to A and then S to B and then S to C. So in the first level A, B, C all completed, and you will see whether any connection, other connections are there. What are the connections from S, A, B, C? Once it over, then it will come to the A and it identifies who are the adjacents for the A. So adjacent for the A is equal to D, then it will go to the D. And what are the other additions are there for A? Nothing. And then it will go to the second level B. What are the additions for the B? And it will see E only. So B is the 5. And then are there any additions for the B? No. So then it will go the other sibling of the B, same level. So, and that is C. And it identifies what are the additions for the C. So once it completes the adjacent matrix of the root, then it will come to the each adjacent nodes, and then it identifies what are the adjacencies of those nodes, those vertices, and then it visits those. So S2A1, S2B2, S2 3. So first level completed. Now it will go to the second level A, B, C, and what are the adjacent vertices are there for A, and next B, next C. Like that it completes the next level, that is D, E, F, and after that it will come to the D, and then it identifies what are the adjacent matrix. G is there, so then it will be 7, D to G, and after that it will come to the E, and what are the adjacent for the E, G, because G already visited, will be available in the visited array, so then it will not visit, and then it will go to the F, and adjacent to the F, G is there, and it checks whether it G is there in the visited list. If it is visited list, because it is visited already, so then it will be there. So then immediately stop the traversing. So in case of BFS, so the traversing will be 0, S to A, S to B, and S to C, and S, A, B, C, next D, E, F, next G. So this will be the BFS. This will be the BFS. So please note down. So S, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. In case of BFS. In case of DFS, S, A, D, G, E, B, F, C. That is in case of DFS. So please note down these two. These two are the very important algorithms, traversing methods. Traversing methods. So in this technique, we first visit the vertex and then visit all the vertices adjacent to the starting vertex, that is 0. Next we pick the adjacent vertices one after the another and visit their adjacent vertices, and this process goes on until we reach the last vertex. This is the technique, algorithm we will follow in the BFS. It starts from the root node and traverses into the next level, left to right. Left level 1, 2, 3. So level wise it visits the nodes. It occupies more space when compared to the DFS. We will see. We will compare both. We will compare DFS and BFS. So once you note down, we will move to the comparison. We will compare now. So if we take 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 like this, if the graph is like this, and 0 has vertices, adjacent matrix 3, 1, 4. So we'll call it as a 1, 4, 3. So we'll visit 1, 4, 3, and then after that 1 has 2 and 4 has 5 and 3 has 6. We will visit 0, 1, 4, 3 and next 2, 5, 6 and after that 7, after that 8. So we will complete the level 0, 1, 2 and then 3, 4, 5. Like that we will complete the levels. The traverse should be 0, 1, 3, 4 first. And then we shall visit all adjacent vertices of the 0, 1, 3, 4. We shall visit all the vertices adjacent to the 1, then all the vertices adjacent to the 3, and then all the vertices adjacent to the 4. So first we will see visit the 2 because 2 is the adjacent to the 1, and then 6 because 6 is the adjacent to the 3, and then 5 is the adjacent to the 4. And from 5 only 7 is there, then we will visit the 7, and from 7 only 8 is there, we will visit the 8. So 0, 1, 3, 4, 2, 6, 5, 7. You have to write like this. So completely 0, 1, 3, 4, 2, 6, 5, 7, 8. 2, 6, 5, 7, 8. You have to write like this. So step by step you have to first root node is 0, 0 to 1, next 0 to 3, next 0 to 4, 0, 1, 3, 4, next from 1 adjacent to 2 and 3 adjacent to 6, then 4 adjacent to 5. So 0, 1, 3, 4, 2, 6, 5, then from 4 or from 5, 7 is there common, or from 6, 7 is there, but from 7, 5 and 8 are there, 5 already visited, so then 7. So 0, 1, 3, 4, next 2, 6, 5, 7, 8. 8 is the last leaf node. So this will be compiled like this. The vertex 0 is the starting vertex in our case, and we start our traversal from vertex 0. Then we will visit all vertices adjacent to vertex G. What are they? 1, 4, 3. So we will visit 1, next 3, next 4. Here we can visit these 3 vertices in any order. Suppose we visit the vertices in order 1, 3, 4. So the traversal would be 0, 1, 3, 4. But once you fix 0, 1, 3, 4, you have to visit the adjacents of 1 first, next 3, next 4, next. For example, if your order is 1, 4, 3, then you have to visit the adjacents of 1 first, next 4, next 3. Please remember this. So you can take any 1, 3, 4 or 1, 4, 3 as you like. But once you fix 1, 3, 4 or 1, 4, 3, based on that you have to visit. So For example, if you fix 0, 1, 3, 4 in order way, 0, 1, 3, 4, because 1, 3, 4 are the order, so that you have selected. No sir, I will select 0, 1, 4, 3. You can, no problem, but you have to visit first 0 vertices, next 1 vertices, 1 vertices adjacent, and 3 adjacent vertex adjacent vertex, next 4 adjacent vertex only, like that order. So now we shall visit all the vertices adjacent to the 1. Okay. So what are the adjacent for the 1? 3. And then all the vertices adjacent to the 4. So 1, 3, 4. So in that order you have to visit. So the first we shall visit 2, because since 2 is the adjacent to the 1. Next 6, because 6 is adjacent to the 3. Next 5 and 7. Next, which are adjacent to the 4. 5 and 7. So while selecting 5 and 7, you can select 7 and 5 also. But in the same order, you have to visit the adjacent vertices. So vertex 4. So how to select? So that selection you can select any way, but while visiting, you have to visit in the same order. So 0, 1, 3, 4. First you traverse. Next 0, 1, 3, 4. 2, 6, 5, 7. 2 is the adjacent to the 1. 6 is the adjacent to the 3. 5 and 7 are the adjacent to the 4. So same order you have to. And after that you have to visit 0, 1, 3, 4 over. 2, 6, 5, 7 second level. Then 2 adjacents visited. 6 is visited. 5 and 7. 5 also 7 visited. So 7. So 7 has only one adjacent vertex, that is 8. So after 7 we will visit the 8. So now we will visit. So that we have to write. We shall visit all the vertices adjacent to the 2, 6, 5, 7. We can see that vertex 5 is adjacent to the vertex 2. But since it is already visited, so no need to visit again. No need to visit again. Like that, you have to check the same order. 0, 1, 3, 4. First one. And the adjacent to the 0 you visited. Adjacent vertices to the 1 vertex you visited. Next 3 adjacents. Next 4 vertex adjacents. After that 2 adjacents. 2 vertex adjacent vertex. After that 6 adjacent vertex. After that 5 adjacent vertex. So 7. So the same order, which order you selected. So the same order you have to follow. This is the main important underline point. So once you visit then they have been traversed before. So that's why no need to traverse again. Vertex 5 does not have any adjacent vertices. So vertices 5 and 8 are adjacent to the 7. So since vertex 5 already visited, so only 8 is there. So that's why we will visit the 8. The order is equal to 0, 1, 3, 4, 2, 6, 5, 7, 8. This is the traversal method. This is the traversal method. So once the 8 has no adjacent vertex, means it is a leaf node, last node. So we'll stop. And there is no unique traversal, and it can be different based on the order of the successors. So that's why, but the order may vary from one programmer to another programmer, but the selection procedure should be same. The algorithm should be same. Algorithm should be same. Please understand that. Algorithm is same. Difference between BFS and DFS algorithms. That means we'll see. BFS and DFS are two popular algorithms to search an element in a graph, or to find whether a node can be reachable from root node in graph or not. And these are popular traversing methods. When we apply these algorithms on a graph, we can see following types of nodes. So these three we will keep in mind while writing the algorithm. Non-visitor nodes, visitor nodes, and explored nodes. So explored nodes means visited nodes means that particular node is visited or not. Non-visited means a particular node not yet visited. Explored nodes means that all the adjacent nodes to the particular node are visited, then we will call it as the explored nodes. So this explored nodes we have to check as per the order you selected. As per the order you selected. So explored nodes algorithm should be the same. That is the main underlying point. So these three are the important information you have to keep in your mind. So we will see difference between BFS and DFS. BFS and DFS. BFS visits nodes level by level. DFS visits the nodes graph depth wise, and it visits nodes until reach a leaf or a node which doesn't have non-visited nodes. So this is the main difference between the DFS and BFS. DFS will visit depth wise from root to leaf node. Will visit until leaf node means what? It doesn't have any adjacent nodes. But BFS level by level will visit. And a node is fully explored before any other can begin. Exploration of a node is suspended as soon as another explored is found. So here we will see whether the particular adjacents are all visited or not. If all visited, then we will move to the next node and we will find whether it is a explored node or not. And it uses queue data structure to store unexplored nodes. BFS uses queue and DFS uses stack data structure to store unexplored nodes. So whether the node explored node or not, all the explored nodes will keep in the stack in DFS, and in BFS we will use the queue. BFS is a slower and require more memory because all levels you have to check. You have to go to the assay again, yes, and then you have to see whether the connections are there or not, because there is no guarantee that the siblings in the same level connected. There is no guarantee. So then you have to move to the root node or previous explored nodes, and then you have to see what are the adjacent to that. If not there, again you have to move to the previous parent node and then again move to the same level node. So like that you have to move. So movements will be there, visitings will be the more. So that's why it is a slower one and it takes more memory. You have to note down all these unexplored and explored nodes very carefully. But in case of DFS, we will move from root to left side and we will move until the leaf node, so that it will be the faster and it requires less memory also. Less memory. It requires less memory. So this is the fourth point where BFS is a slower and DFS is a faster. BFS requires more memory and DFS requires less memory because the information to be stored is the less when compared to the BFS. And some applications, one application is there, finding all connected components in a graph and finding the shortest path between the two nodes, finding nodes within one connected component and testing a graph for bipartitions. These four are the applications of BFS. And applications of DFS, topological sorting, finding connected components, solving puzzles such as maze, finding strongly connected components, finding articulation points, that is cut vertices of the graph. So for example, a particular vertex is cut. You cut means you deleted. So then how the graph will be again, because the cycle formed or not, whether it is keeping directed or not, undirected or not, whether it is a cycled or not. So all these things comes into the picture. So that's why all these things will be easy in case of DFS. So these all are the applications of the BFS and DFS. Please note down applications which are very important. So these all are the applications of left side BFS, right side applications are DFS. So topological sortings. So these computer networks, all LAN, WAN, all topological sortings and will be done very easily by using the DFS technique. And whether they are connected strongly or not, all these things comes under this category. Please note down applications of BFS and DFS. Finding all connected components in a graph, it will be very easy by using BFS. And finding the shortest path, I already told you, if the weightage is there and if you want to find out shortest path between the nodes to transfer the data, so then for example in your application computer networks, LAN, WAN or any kind of hybrid kind of networks, computer networks, you want to use this BFS, then with weightage, then it will be the very easy if you implement the BFS. And finding strongly connected components, whether the components are connected or not, then BFS will be the very simple. And in case of any vertices finding and all, so then DFS will be the good. Finding all nodes within the one connected component, and finding this explored nodes, and testing a graph for bipartitions is one kind of graphs, varieties of graphs. In that you want to test for graph, so then BFS will be the very simple one. So these all are the applications of BFS and DFS. All left side are BFS. So there are 4 comparisons are there, BFS and DFS. So 4 comparisons, and 5th one is completely applications of the BFS and DFS. Please note down the algorithm technique you have to write down first. After that, I will store these explored nodes and all using queue in case of BFS, using stack in case of DFS, and how the exploration will be done. It will be how it will be begin, and how will you store the unexplored nodes, and whether it requires more memory place or more memory space or less memory space, whether it is a slower, faster. So all these things based on the situation, algorithm will take either BFS or DFS. And after 4th one, we have given applications of BFS and DFS. Completely, there are 4 applications I have given. These 4 are not limited. There may be day to day. There are so many applications they are using BFS and DFS. So now recently, mostly in the machine learning and artificial intelligence also. So these applications are increasing day by day. Even games also they are using. Mostly in the beginning they used mainly in the computer networks, and after that the usage and applications day by day increased. So wherever explore nodes means, you please note down here I have given. Just see, there are 3 important points are there here: non-visited nodes, visited nodes, explore nodes. Non-visited means the nodes not yet visited. Visited nodes, these nodes are visited. All visited nodes will store in a separate array, visited array. Once you visit, that node will be added to the visited array, so that whenever you want to do traversing, you will check whether it is visited or not. Explored nodes means a node is said to be explored when it was visited and all nodes which are connected adjacent to that nodes. That means if 1 is there, adjacent to the 1 is 4 and 3 are there. 1 visited, 4 visited, 3 visited. So then 1 is called as explored. But 4 and 3 are called as unexplored because the adjacent to the 4 and 3 are not visited yet. So a node adjacent to a particular node, all adjacent nodes also visited, then that node is called as explored node. Best example, one vertices, one node is there connected to 4 and 3. 1 is visited, but 4 and 3 are not visited, then 1 is unexplored node. But the adjacent vertices of the 1, 4 and 3 also visited, then 1 is called as explored node. That is the difference between explored node and unexplored node. So that's why those explored and unexplored. So here, that explored, unexplored nodes will be stored in BFS in queue. In case of DFS, stack will be used. These are the applications. So just one small example I have given. Mostly in interview, like this. A graph is like this: A, B, C, D, E, F. In case of BFS, the visiting will be done A, B, C, then D, E, F. A, B, C, D, E, F. But in case of DFS, first A will be visited, then left node B will be visited, then left node D will be visited. If any left, right, till leaf node it will be visited, and then it will come to the root node. Then it will go to the right side of the root node, C will be visited. Then left side E will be visited. Because it is a leaf node, again it will go to the C, and then it will visit the F node. That means it will visit root to left till the leaf node, and then right from parent node to the leaf node, and then parent node to the leaf node of the left and right. First left, next right. So that in case of DFS, it will be A, B, D, C, E, F. So please note down this one. This is the very important one, mostly asked in placements and interviews and so BFS will be levels wise. A first level, 0 level, BC second level, DEF third level. So that A will be visited, and then B will be visited. Then all the level from A to C will be visited. So A, B, C will be visited. And after that you will come to the B, and all the adjacent to the B will be visited, D. And then it will come to the C, all adjacent to the C will be visited. So E and F. So then it will come to the D, and it will see any adjacent matrices are there, any adjacent vertices are there. So D has no vertices, so it will stop. It will check D, E, F, and if all finding up after D, E, F, and it identifies no adjacent vertices are there, it will stop the traversing. The traversing will be done in case of BFS, A, B, C, D, E, F. In case of DFS, it will be A, B, D and C, E, F. The main difference between these two, please note down. We'll see tomorrow. Programs also we'll see. Tomorrow we'll see the programs. If tomorrow not possible, madam will take class. So then I will take Monday. Okay, next class we'll see some programs, and also we'll see some more advanced topics, but they are not in the syllabus, not examination point of view. But for understanding purpose, if anything is there, we will see the advanced topics also I want to cover some information. So for further work, if you want to use, you can use. Okay, thank you, bye. We will see you tomorrow.